So I figure I'll experiment with this. Are you down? She said yes. It costs $5 on Amazon. I don't really trust it, but if you're desperate, you want to put it in, I'll put it in for you. I don't want this to go in the garbage. My name is Fix It Felix. I don't want to dump it in the dump. I want to fix things. 10 years ago, I was like a dump it David or something. I was just dumping, buy a new one, buy a new one, buy a new one. I don't know what's wrong, buy a new one. Discontinued parts. So I realized after the shortages and the COVID, some stuff that was readily available went back order. And what was popping up all over Amazon was these cheap parts. Cheap parts have always been around. It did explode after COVID, especially with Amazon next day shipping. There was a time when Whirlpool rollers, the little wheels that go on the dryer drums, those were back ordered for 6-7 months. Now I had already bought 10 at one time, and I don't do that many Whirlpool because I do high end, but I had a big stock of them. And instead of putting them on eBay for $150 for a $20 part, I figured I'm gonna hold on to them and I'm gonna do repairs. And if anybody needs them, they know that they could ask me for stuff and I would help them out. But that is back order parts. Some people don't want to wait 6 months to fix their dryer. You could be honest. Don't put in a $5 computer board from Amazon that's gonna last 2 weeks. Tell them there is no computer board right now. What you could do is put on this crappy one. If we're desperate, there's no other choice. It costs $5 on Amazon. I don't really trust it, but if you're desperate, you want to put it in, I'll put it in for you. Here's my labor for it. I can't guarantee the job. And when the original part comes around, we'll put it in. Another option for discontinued parts, websites like Macomb, they're pretty good. They have like Subco parts or third-party manufacturer parts, and some of them are good. Certain things you don't want to use, for example, water valves. You don't want 150 PSI being held down by a $5 water valve that's going to rupture and cause a flood. Everything has its pros and cons. But I made this video because there's an old Gen Air fridge and it uses this adaptive control board. It's a little white box, and they used to be very common and popular. And these Gen Air fridges are running solid. There's nothing wrong with these fridges. Nothing wrong with the insulation, the doors, the frame, nothing. They're like perfect running machines. They're a little box that costs $27 or $50. They discontinue it, and now they gotta buy a whole new Gen Air. Now I'm working on one that's a Gen Air counter depth stainless steel. It's a tall side-by-side, 20-something inches. You can't find anything that fits there, especially American, and this person wants an American fridge. You're not finding anything that fits there. So I start looking around and I find adaptive control boards everywhere. Amazon, Alibaba, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. But Macomb's had one, and I believe it was made by Subco or Robert Shaw. So Robert Shaw I trust. They make so many parts for so many things. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna use this piece. It was like $17, and I told her this is experimental. I'm gonna order 3 of them. I'm gonna charge you a couple bucks for the part and very minimal labor, because I want to experiment on your fridge, because at this point you're gonna throw it out and buy a new one, and she didn't want to do that. So I figure I'll experiment with this. Are you down? She said yes, and I'm gonna install the part, and I hope it's not a disaster. Now there's no warranty, no guarantee, there's nothing. I'm gonna buy 3 of them, so if it lasts a month, we'll pop in another one. If it lasts a month, we'll put the other one. If it lasts another month, we'll put the other one. So she was adamant on, I don't want this to go to the landfill. I've had this fridge for 20 years. I'm moving in a year and a half, so I'm not gonna spend $5,000 on the fridge. And I get it. Now, some people would walk in there, say, this part's discontinued, give me $180 for the visit, see you later. And now the customer's sitting there. She's never gonna wanna fix an appliance again. She's never gonna trust anybody that comes to the house. And then let's say she calls a second guy, and the second guy comes because she wants this fridge, and the second guy says, oh, I have one in my bag, and it's one of these $17 parts, and he pops it in. She's gonna be happy that it worked, and she's gonna call that guy forever, and you get no business. Already a day later, the woman had referred 2 of her friends to me. So now I have 2 customers off of just this simple conversation with honesty about, I don't want this to go in the garbage. My name is Fix It Felix. I don't want to dump it in the dump. I want to fix things. That's why they call me that. I like to fix stuff. I don't want to just throw things out. 10 years ago, I was like a dump it David or something. I was just dumping, buy a new one, buy a new one, buy a new one. I don't know what's wrong, buy a new one. And I haven't seen a lot of those people for a couple reasons. Maybe they got a second opinion. And it was a light bulb. Screw in the light bulb. There it is. This guy's nuts. That person's never going to call you. Even worse, they might badmouth you, and you'll never get work again. At the end of the day, you have to be honest and figure things out. And that's it. And search around the web. There's parts everywhere. Don't trust eBay so much when it's not in a box sealed. Even then, it's so easy to put tape on something. But you got to use your brain, and you got to be honest. If you get it from eBay, you got to tell the customer, listen, things are tight, things are desperate, I have to get it from eBay. You want to do that or not? And some people would love to do it. Some people would, it'd be embarrassing when you see the face they make when you mention the word eBay. So you got to be careful, but you have to read the room. And it's not every time, if you can buy something from whirlpool.com, don't go to, Amazon and get the cheapest one you find. That's ridiculous. All that to say, try to fix things, try to find parts, whether they're used, whether they're third party. Try to get it done, but don't lie to the customer. Tell them the truth. Tell them you're trying to save the machine, you're trying to save time. Sometimes don't give a warranty. I mean, it's not your fridge, it's their fridge. You could say, I'd love to save this fridge for you at all cost, but I can't guarantee these parts that we bought from Taiwan in the middle of the night on eBay. So how about no guarantee? You could always go out and buy a new fridge. But do your best, try to find the parts, do your research, find good reputable sites. If a part is hard to find, and you do find one, see if they have more than one and get a couple. After COVID, a lot of companies started discontinuing. I've noticed like a lot of parts like computer boards and just really weird stuff. They just stopped making it. There's no more manufacturing for certain things. So it's going to be impossible to fix a lot of stuff. And what does that mean? That means that we're leaving a lot of money on the table if we can't get the job done. And that's the last thing you want to do, is spend your whole day running around telling people to buy a new one or there's no parts. So have an open mind, learn how things work. For example, sometimes you could use fan motors that are universal and they work in almost all the machines and they cost $10. So if there's a fridge that needs a fan motor and you could get a universal one for $10 and save the fridge, don't make them throw it out and buy a new fridge when you could use a universal fan. Just be honest and charge appropriately and get the job done, and you're gonna have a customer for life. So thanks for watching. I try to just rant, give advice, make some jokes. It is what it is. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff. I really appreciate you watching the video. And have a great day, have a good night, whatever time it is. These things live on forever, so just enjoy your life. Take care.